Hey everybody, today is Tuesday the 25th, I believe. I'm actually driving home from work to go pick up Lucas for the dentist. We both have to go to the dentist, which is not my favorite thing in the world. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk some more Kickstarter, since I'm doing some Kickstarter stuff. I said, let's talk about some more Kickstarter. The car in front of me had something crazy in the bumper sticker, just threw me off for a second. So, with this new Kickstarter, we're doing this whole Cross of Fire. I've been working on this one, at least mentally for a while, and I've made some phone calls. And so, I called some people, and I'm going to tell you the people I called, because I'm not upset with them, but I'm like, ugh, okay. But then it led to a really great idea, so this is kind of a good thing. So I was like, oh, okay, I want to do this Cross of Fire thing. I've talked about it yesterday or the day before, and I want to do a cool horror-inspired adventure path that I think a lot of people will find interesting. The plan we have set up, initially, when we first created it, was for Ravenloft, and it was going to be Mind Flayers, Githyanki, Drow, and Undead, which, boom, that's a seller. That's a win seller. That shouldn't be tough to sell. So, but some of those things are now IP of WotC, so we can't, great. Yeah, we're going to be doing this a lot today, I can feel it. You know what? I'm taking out the charging cord. That's like part of the problem too. The cord stays on it, and there's a lot of bumps in the road. It's not as bad as New Jersey, but it's still pretty horrendously bumpy in Florida, which is funny since it's such a flat state. So, it's hot in here too. I'm turning on the AC. Yes, I said it was hot, and I'm turning on the AC. Please don't get mad at me if you're living somewhere cold. It's not my fault. So, we're going to do this big adventure path, and that's it up. But, the IP is owned by WotC. Boom. So we found a replacement for the Mind Flayers, and I've been developing a replacement for the Githyanki. And I'm kind of been inspired because I've been collecting a lot of art of late on Pinterest of a lot of samurai and Native American combinations. And I'm like, ooh, there's some really cool dress, some really cool themes we can twist and mess with that I think would be kind of cool. So I haven't thought of these. I haven't got these braids done yet. But, I am saying, I know that I'm going to have to do a lot of sword play. They're going to be focused on a lot of sword, just like the Githyanki. But the swords are going to be kind of hooked at the end. I thought about Star Trek. The Klingons have a little sword from the Batleth, the Mek'leth. I thought if you extended it out as like a long sword with a hook at the end, that could be kind of cool. Because, hook, trip, that could be kind of cool. So, and that's kind of the shape of the weapon I devised for this new race, which I still don't have a name for, but I'll come up with something eventually. So I'm doing all that part out. Drow are Drow, they've always been the same. And the Undead, we're going to do some really cool Undead and some other cool stuff. So I built it like that. So I called a lot of people. I called, Ben McFarlane was one of the first calls I made. And I'm thinking, Ben will want to work. We've been trying to work together, just, catching each other, things happen. Boom. He can't do it, too busy. I'm like, okay, that happens. And I'm like, all right. So I really wanted to write with him, So then I said, okay, who else do I know who's really available, who's not working on a Paizo project, who's not inundated or going to grad school or whatever. And I said, let me call Brendan Hodge. I've never actually worked with him. I've talked to him before, but I've never worked with him. I said, let me see if he might be available to do something. So I call him up, and he's busy. And I'm just like, great, another person busy. So then you start rattling your mind of people you want to go. It's like the first person always comes to your mind you want to write, Owen Casey Stevens. But I'm like, Owen can't write. He's got like 12 other projects he's doing. I'm like, So I'm thinking. And then I go, wait a minute. Here's a great idea. Last year, back in July, I was telling everybody that we were going to be doing an all-female adventure path. And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I remember that. We were going to do an all-female adventure path. We talked to the woman who wanted to write it. We got it all set up. But then some, of course, personal problems in my life came up. So I had to put a lot of stuff on hold. And I was like, hey, I know I wanted them to do this thing. And this one was for New Exodus. But I said, I knew I wanted to do that thing for New Exodus. But how about if I got them to do this for Obsidian Apocalypse? And I thought, this might be a really cool thing. I'm like, okay. So I called up Christina Stiles, left her, sent her an email, she sent me one back saying, okay, I'm kind of busy. And I'm thinking like, she's like, but I might be able to do something. What's your deadline? And I sent her what the deadline would be, and now I'm waiting to hear back from her. You know, so by the time you guys hear this, you either said yes or no, and I'll tell you that part of the story. But it's just one of those things of, you know, finding the right writers to do the work. It's always like, you got to find people that mesh very well with, I think, with the work itself, and that you think would work very well with you. So it's kind of, you know, you've got to find those right people, and it takes time. It takes time, I think, to find the right connection. But once you get it, you get it. That's it. So we're working on that aspect right now. So for me, I'm just like, okay, Cross of Fire looks like it's going to be moving along, and then of course we're going to do a Kickstarter. So I'm like, all right, when do I plan for this Kickstarter to start? And then I said, well, do I even want to call it a Kickstarter? Because my idea is I want this thing to start, the Kickstarter, to start sometime in like middle July, August. Because from now to then, I would like the people to be writing. So what I will realistically do is I'd pay them to write all the stuff they're supposed to write. We get a thing in place and do that. And I think, you know, I have a really cool, I can't tell you yet, but it's that cool. I have a really cool thing that I think people will find, well, the writers are going to find very interesting, and they're probably going to help say yes. So I've talked to them about it. I'm going to have them writing from, what is it now, late February to probably June on the project. So it gives them a lot of time to write. We're talking initially, we're only looking at like 15,000 words. That's the thing. Each adventure will be 15,000 words. So in total, well, 15,000. That's what we're saying now. You know, so in total, we're thinking 60,000 words. So when you lay that out, that's about 90-ish pages. So you can for all you who are kind of interested in this kind of stuff. Oh yeah, if you're very interested, you always want to know, like, how, you know, what's the word count per page count? You can kind of estimate figure. It's I was going to say a 1 to a 1.5 ratio. So for 1,000 words of text, that should be like 1.5 pages of stuff. Now, you know, this isn't an exact science or anything, but that's a really roughly good way to think of it. You know, I used an older theory when stuff was, the type was bigger and you had more art, but, you know, I say 1,000 words equals 1.5 pages is a pretty good one. So figure it that way. So somebody writes 5,000 words, 7.5 pages, 8 pages worth of content. There you go. So this is like, yeah, I said, it's going to be 60,000 words, so we're figuring 90 pages of content. Plus, we can, you know, you can fluff it out, as they call it, to get 96. And it looks like, you know, that's a lot of time. We're going to have 4 writers writing it all at the same time, so they can have it done very, very early. I mean, you know, they can have it done within like 2 months, 3 months. You know, even 3 months, it'd be like, woohoo! Yeah, it's 3 months. They start in March. You know, March, April, May, done at May, or even better, done at June. You know, that still gives us a month before we even do the Kickstarter. And realistically, what I would do personally, this is just my business ideas and this is how I work. I would pay the people for when they turned it in, not when it's going to print, but that's, you know, that's some time from now. But pay it for, you know, when they get it. It's good for them because they know you're paying. People like to know you're paying. It's always nice to pay people. People like that. It's also nice that people know they don't have to wait. You know, it could be 6 months to 8 months. To, you know, people got bills to pay like anybody else. They gotta just, you know, pay them the money. They turn to the project, pay them the money. That's simple. So, look, the project will come in. You'll take it. You give it to your editor. He'll be editing it, and that, like, the last month or 2 months before you start the Kickstarter, you're gonna start really talking it up because now you've got the content. You've got the heart of what it is. Also, during this time, you're probably assigning artwork too. So you may have, you know, a couple of good art pieces, you know. So you're there. You got good art pieces for the Kickstarter, good art pieces to show off that people will like, that can get them interested. So, and I said, the best part is that you've already kind of paid them for it. So the Kickstarter really isn't a Kickstarter. It's kind of a kick finisher. You know, what you're paying for now is, you know, you're basically trying to recoup the money you've already spent, which is, you know, great. So it's like, if all you have to do is worry about recouping money and then printing the books, that's a good thing. So with this Kickstarter, I'm guesstimating the 4 adventures all done, the 60,000 words, will probably, with everything, art, editing, the whole deal, package, the percentage, will probably run me about $14,000. Yeah, $14,000 is what we're going to be looking for. But here's how we're going to do it a little different. Since we're going to be doing this stuff in advance, we're going to be paying out of pocket. So we're going to probably put our initial Kickstarter goal real low. And you're going to say, well, how low, Lewis? You know, what? We're going to try to start at 3,500. And why people say, okay, why 3,500? Because that's 1/4. Get it? 1/4 of the 14,000. So if we reach the 1/4 point, we got the first adventure. It's paid in cash. Boom. We're good. If we get 7,000, which would be the next, like the big update, stretch goal. You call it a stretch goal. We'd give you the money for the second one. So the second would definitely come out. We reach 7,000. So that'd be 10,5. That'd be the third one, and the final one 14. 14,000 would pay for that. Would pay for everything. We wouldn't have to worry about printing everything. We would be in great shape. We'd be like, dun, 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 great shape, and I'd be okay with that. Even if we didn't reach those numbers, say we only got the 3,500. Say we got the initial 3,500. That was all we got. We still would be in a pretty good spot. We've already paid for the stuff because, you know, with money we've made from sales we've made, it just would be, you know, once again, it'd be tight. We'd have to make our money back with the sales all by themselves. Doing the Kickstarter gives you the advantage to give you the money up front. You get to do all the stuff. But if you do the money up front and do the work up front, you can basically be, you know, done by the time the Kickstarter starts. So kind of what I want to be. I want us to be basically, oh, the Kickstarter's done? Okay, you collect the money, After a week, all the money comes in. Hey, everybody who put the money in, here you go. Here's your copy of the thing, They got a PDF copy that, like, you know, within a week of the finished product. How many people would love that? How many people would love to have a PDF copy of the thing they paid a week in advance? And then you go, okay, well, I'm going to go to print, and since we use CreateSpace, I'd upload the PDF we just showed you, just gave you and showed you. Boom, you can start having your book in less than a month. Now think about that for a second. Less than a month. You could have the book that you asked for in less than a month. Kind of cool? Yeah, definitely kind of cool. But realistically, it might be a little more. I put in rewards. We have traditional rewards. What I say, you get product for the thing. That's very traditional. But I also give options like if you give X amount of dollars, we'll give you the option that you can put in that you get to submit. Not always for print, but you can submit 2 monsters that we'll put in print. You know, that's for example. You know, I mean, that's not a bad deal. You're a new guy. You want to get published. You got a cool idea. You got these cool monsters you think would work well in the setting. You'd like to try it out, but you don't know if you want to send them to me. Try it in the Kickstarter. You know, it says they're cool monsters. We're going to tell you they're cool, and we're going to put them in the book because they're cool. Why would we not put them in the book? Because that's even, you know, that's A, a cool reward for the people. B, most importantly, another cool monster that we get to show off. And cool monsters are what people like. People want to see cool stuff. People want to see us doing cool stuff. They want to show off cool stuff. And that's only a win-win. That's at least in my theory. That's what I think. So, you know, I think that's more of the way to go about it. So give them rewards, not just the traditional, oh, an extra book, another book, and then give them people opportunity to get published. I mean, you know, who doesn't want to get published in this industry? I mean, that's the whole part of this industry, getting published. So, but like I said, right now I'm waiting to hear back from Christina Stiles, which I'm hoping Christina says yes. Because if not, it's going to be back to the pile again to figure out who I'm going to get to write this thing up, or if I can get this off the ground. You know, people are like, it's a lot more difficult doing the business side of publishing than people think it is. I mean, everybody wants to write their own masterpiece opum and get it out there and have everybody see it and and that's great. I mean, that's great. You'd want to do that, but that's not what publishing is. Publishing is doing several products every month coming out, stuff that you may have not written, other people have written. You know, you're about publishing. That's what a publisher does. A publisher is about publishing. So, you know, you want to do a one-off, hey, that's great. You want to do a little ego stroke, hey, that's great. But that doesn't make you a publisher. A lot of guys out there screaming, I'm a third-party publisher. They put out one product. That's not a third-party publisher. Third-party publisher puts out products on a regular basis. And let me define the word regular for some of you. I'd say you got to put out at least, I'll be kind, you got to put out at least 25 products. Yeah. That's 25 products in a year. If you put out 25 products in a year, I'd call you a publisher. I'll call you a publisher, you know. That's not many. 25 products a year is 2 every month. You know? Rogue Genius and Legendary, they do 1 a week. So I'm telling you, do half of that. You do half of that, boom, you're a publisher. 25 products. I mean, hey, do I put up 25 products? Probably. I mean, we've got, nearly 600 products. So, yeah. Have I put out a product in a while? No. We've been pushing Obsidian Apocalypse. I've been doing a little side project, doing other stuff with my wife. But am I gonna, dude? Would you get over it? This guy's been got his turn signal on for the last 4 miles. Now he turns it off, of course. You know, it's work. It's work, man. It's work. It's fun work, but it's still work. So, you know, don't kid yourself. It's work. What we do is work, and it's fun work, and we enjoy it, and everyone's happy when we're done it. But it's work. It's tough getting the stuff there on time. It's tough getting everybody involved. It's tough making sure your numbers work out. Because you can make a serious mistake with your numbers and be like screaming at yourself like, oh, how did I make this mistake? You know? A lot of people don't realize, man, a lot of these Kickstarters that even get funded, even that they shoot through the numbers, a lot of them barely break even with just the Kickstarter side. I mean, it's just, you know, anything can happen. You know, and like I said, just because the money you guys see, oh, this guy raised $200,000, doesn't mean he's getting all that $200,000. You know, I'll tell you our breakdown. You know, here's our breakdown in the money and where's it going to go when we do this Kickstarter. 60% of our money, 60%. goes to the writers, artists, editors. Boom. That's 60%. 30%? Yeah. 30% goes to shipping the books and actually printing them. A third of the money goes right there. And that remaining 10%, you're like, okay, that's your profit. No. That remaining 10% goes to Amazon and Kickstarter for their cut. It's like, holy cow, man, everybody's making money on this deal. Yeah, everybody's making money on this deal. So, you know, and that's 100%. That's breaking even. That's not even making a real cool profit. That's just me breaking even on the product with the $14,000 I raised. It's like, holy cow, man, that's crazy. And then you got to start selling it. You got to get people interested in selling it. That's the even crazier part, and that's how this thing works. So understand, you know, it isn't just like you get a bucket full of money and you're going to be like, woo, let me swim in this money. No, man, that money usually is already spent. That's why when I see people do Kickstarters for like $1,000 and something like, I'm like, ooh, that's not going to work out the way you think it is. I mean, they think they've got the numbers right, and I know. Look, man, we got 11,000 from Obsidian Apocalypse, and I still had to kick in a lot of money for that. I mean, shipping alone, jeez. Shipping alone on that project was like $3,000. $3,000 for shipping. A lot of places, because I did the smart dumb thing. I told people, don't worry about international shipping. I'll take it out of my own pocket. It's no big deal. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done. My God. Shipping is crazy. Shipping to Canada, not so bad. Shipping to Australia, oh my God. Use a gun next time. It'll be easier for both of us. Holy cow. So, make sure you got the shipping part right, because you can easily sink yourself due to your own niceness and, as I call, stupidity. Just a thought. Alright, I'm almost at my son's daycare, so I'm going to get off this so I can go pick him up, and we can go see the dentist, and I can be screaming for a different kind of pain. I'll talk to you all later.